Guys, I don't know where you are in the world, but here in Florida, we have been hitting record-breaking temperatures for the last couple of days, and it has been pretty much unbearable. Now, I like to go ahead and play my PlayStation 5 in my living room, and in order to keep it as cool as possible, I was trying to look for all sorts of solutions in order to make it feasible, realistically feasible. SCRY, they went ahead and they reached out to me, and they sent the Artic cooler, and this is a 6-fan system that you pretty much put into the back of the PlayStation 5 to continue to pull air out of it and keep it as cool as possible. Now, I personally was a little bit skeptical about it because, I mean, these aren't the biggest fans in the world. They're actually kind of small, but I did a really quick YouTube short and I was kind of impressed. This actually did a relatively good job with just testing the temperatures on the back of the PlayStation 5 itself, but I wanted to dive deeper. I wanted to go ahead and see how the temperatures were on the inside of the PlayStation 5. Obviously, the easiest way to do this would be to take it apart, put in a couple of probes on the CPU, well, near the CPU because it's got liquid metal in there, and next to the RAMs in order to pretty much see how everything was going. Once everything was put back together, I took my PlayStation 5 downstairs and I asked my wife to continue playing Final Fantasy 16, and I wanted her to push the console to its limit. So I asked her to do a stage replay of a certain icon, and I was able to go ahead and have a control in the middle of all this to really see how the temperature was, and I could record averages and see how everything played out. I was kind of disappointed that the impact of the fan wasn't as great as I thought it would be, especially after the results of my YouTube short and just testing the temperatures that came on the backside of the fan itself. But at the end of the day, it still was something that was honestly unexpected. I didn't really think that this was going to make any impact at all because at the end of the day, the blower fan that is on the PlayStation 5 that's within it is pretty strong as is, and I have a day one edition of the PlayStation 5, so it has a huge heatsink that, albeit with the newer renditions that are out there seem to be unnecessary, I still think that there is some form of beneficial factor. It's just, there isn't any sort of logic behind it. That's just how I feel about it. But I don't know, I wanted this to have a much larger impact than it did, especially when reading the internal temperatures on the PlayStation 5. One thing that I do want to go ahead and say is that when I was testing this for my YouTube shorts, I was using Fahrenheit as the form of measurement for the temperature. I used Celsius when I was doing the internal temperatures. That's just the PC side of me when it came down to it. So I'm going to be also showing the Fahrenheit equivalent on screen. Before I started recording any sort of data at all, I wanted to make sure that the PlayStation 5 was at least warmed up. That way, when I started recording data, it wouldn't fluctuate as much and it would be pretty much where you would be after gaming for a long extended period of time. So I waited roughly about 45 minutes before I would even consider that a warmed up PlayStation 5. After that, I spent roughly another 45 minutes recording data to see how the PlayStation performs without having the fan attached on the back, and then I spent another 45 minutes recording how the PlayStation 5 performed with the SCRY Artic on the back of the PlayStation 5. And to be honest, the results were kind of surprising. At the end of the day, it still did the job, and it did a relatively good job, especially considering the price of this. I'll put those up and you guys can go ahead and see for yourself what these results were. Currently, it's listed at $29 on their Kickstarter campaign page. I think they still have a couple of days left. They currently have 28 days to go at the time of this recording. Chances are when I post it, it's probably gonna be 26, maybe 27 days left. And frankly, it's a pretty solid price. Once the Kickstarter campaign is over, this is going to be selling at $59.90 full retail. Honestly, for the price and the performance that I've seen so far, I personally think that it's worth it, especially if you live in a hotter area like I do, like Florida. A couple of things that I did want to go ahead and talk about that popped up in the comment section of my YouTube short. First and foremost, this USB port that is in the back is pass-through. So if you were to hook this up onto the back of your PlayStation 5 and connect something else into that USB port on the back, it'll register on the PlayStation 5 just as if these fans weren't even connected to it. Also, I did want to go ahead and mention that this unit, the prototype that they sent my way, does not support PSVR 2, but the final product that you will get if you order it through the Kickstarter campaign or through their website after the Kickstarter campaign campaign will support PSVR 2. The IO on the backside of the PlayStation 5 is 100% accessible with these fans. Honestly, it's as if these fans weren't even there. So everything that you could or want to do with the PlayStation 5 that you would normally do is 100% doable without any issues. One thing that I did notice that kind of rubbed me the wrong way when it comes to these fans is that when I did go ahead and have this mounted on my PlayStation 5, I was playing my games, whatever it may be, and I put my PlayStation 5 into sleep mode, this would go ahead and keep on running even though my PlayStation 5 was in sleep mode. The only way that this actually turned off would be if I actually turned off my PlayStation 5 and I did not use the sleep mode. The system itself is pretty straightforward. I mean, you have 6 fans that are on the back and they're pretty smooth and they're honestly pretty quiet to run. And you have one USB input and then you have one USB input in the back. So you have a male and female, and honestly it's pretty much straightforward. You plug it into the system, you attach it, and then once it's there, it's attached, it runs, and you're done. Now, when it comes to fan noise, this is definitely something to take into consideration depending on how you use your PlayStation 5, where it is, and pretty much the acoustics of wherever it is that you're going to be gaming. Without the fans or any other attachments or anything like that on a PlayStation 5, if it's just a PlayStation 5 itself, you're going to be getting roughly around 40 decibels of noise or fan noise from the PlayStation 5, and this is putting a decibel meter right smack dab next to or on top of the PlayStation 5. If you're going to attach the SCRY Artic coolers and you were going to have this running and put a decibel meter right next to it, I'm talking about smack dab right on it, you're going to get around 69 to 70 decibels. Now, if you have a PlayStation 5 right next to you, you're going to be able to tell the difference. This is a no-brainer. But if you have it in a TV unit or if you have it in a cabinet or whatever it may be, and it's far away from you in the living room, the noise is going to be there. You're going to be able to hear it, but the impact in terms of decibels is just not going to be as strong as it would be if it was literally right next to you. Now, this is obviously on a case-by-case basis, and it depends on what it is or the situation that you're going to be in when it comes to gaming and your unique acoustics of your room. Another point that was brought up in the comment section of the YouTube short that I feel like is kind of obvious, but I understand why there would be some hesitancy, is that yes, these fans, they do blow the right way, and I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick test to show you this. I can't help but be impressed at how easy it was to install and how much of an impact it had on the temperature of my PlayStation 5. That being said, if this is something that you're interested in, I do have an affiliate link in the description below that will guide you to their Kickstarter campaign, and later on I'll update that to actually point to their website. But that being said, honestly guys, like, this is something that I would recommend. This is something that I'm going to keep on my PlayStation 5. Let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. I'll go ahead and I'll be in the comment section. If you want to hear my thoughts on my PlayStation 5 2 years later, click this video over here. If you want to hear my thoughts on the DualSense Edge, click this video over here. And until next time, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.